Salons are getting ready to reopen here in the city. When is still an iffy, but we'll be talking about what they'll be doing to keep you safe when you do get your haircut. Well, with the province opening up in certain areas as they move into phase 2, this means many people can now head back to the salon, like the one behind us here, get that much-needed haircut. But this one won't be opening because we're in Toronto still. But what are the new rules? What are salons going to do to be ready? And what can you do before you go? Joining us now to answer those questions is the CEO of the CBON Group, Jeff Alford. Jeff, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Just quickly, what is this? What is the CBON Group?
We're the leading infection control educators for the salon industry in Canada.
Okay, and so with people who are getting ready to head back, a lot of salons will be opening up just outside of Toronto and Peel, and then hopefully soon with us over the next little while. What should people be doing? How should they be preparing to make that salon experience a safe one and a good one?
Well, this is a very, very confusing time for the public, and it's also a very stressful time for the salon owners. The industry, the beauty industry, is very important for the mental health of Canadians. So they're going to be obviously seeing some very basic things like masks and hand sanitizing and not touching your face. But we are stressing a couple of very, very important new things that need to be thought about and paid attention to. One of them is that all professionals should now look at getting a higher level of education, particularly hairstylists, in infection control. And the public should be aware of what is needed to practice proper infection control. The other big thing we're suggesting is...
Could you just repeat that? You cut out there. Could you just repeat that last part for about people? You just cut out there.
I mean, the professionals should get proper education on infection control at a much higher level. And the public should also get some education on proper infection control in the salon business. So there is education available now for everyone. There's a website, infectioncontroleducation.com. In addition to that, we're suggesting that everyone be cognizant of the fact that proper disinfectants should be used. Hospital-grade disinfectants should be used in salons, not just alcohol or Lysol. For example, a Canadian company, Virox, makes a product called Preempt that is used in the hospitals. That's the disinfectant that all salons should be using. So those are the very important new items for the public and the salon to know. And there will be other new things. For example, some salons are charging now a safety fee, like a surcharge, because they're spending so much extra money on infection control. And you can't just walk into a salon anymore. You'll need to make an appointment. The government of Ontario for a while has had a client tracking requirement. Every time you go into a salon, you're supposed to give them your name and your email address or telephone number. So those are just some of the items that are going to need to be made aware of, not only by the professional, but also by the public.
And what should you expect to see when you walk in to get your hair cut or a style? What are some of the changes we'll see, and what are some of the things you should see there as you walk in?
Well, one of the things you should see is that you're not sitting next to somebody else. You're properly distanced when you're being treated. Obviously, your service provider should be wearing a mask and protective gear. And ideally, you should be wearing a mask too. You'll also expect to see that before you sit down in the chair, it's disinfected. After the tools have been used on you, ideally in front of you, they are disinfected again in preparation for the next customer. So these are some of the things that you should expect to see.
And one last question before we go. What are some good questions you should be asking when you walk in the door, or even before you go?
One of the big questions you should be asking are you using hospital-grade disinfectants? That's a really, really big question. And the other question, obviously, is, is there a safety fee? Most Canadians who we've surveyed have said that they're very comfortable paying a safety fee now. But and they're comfortable paying it only if they see the protocols being followed by the salon.
Okay. Jeff, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We appreciate you taking the time.
My pleasure.
And that was Jeff Alford, the CEO of the CBON Group. And we'll have more on Breakfast Television coming up after the break.